A hail and hearty hello, weirdos. This is Spooky Chris. This is the Spooky Chris podcast. Thank you and welcome aboard. Happy holidays if you are one who tends to partake of holidays. It is nearing the end of 2023, so inch by inch, the end comes closer for us all. So hey, you found me. Thanks, I appreciate it. You can find all of my podcasts, all 100 and whatever of them, at spookychris.com, where you can also find my blogs and links to my many books and all kinds of bric-a-brac that I have gotten into over the years. So, hey, I had a couple things on my mind I thought I would get into, and let's just go right on in. So first, it's interesting. It seems a funny. So we're a strange little species, the human. As a, born in the 70s, kid of the 80s, movie geek. I was a child of VHS. I fell in love with movies very young. Got into them and was obsessed with them, and that was kind of my escape as a kid, and where I'd watch everything, horror and I mean, really anything. I mean, for goodness sake, I went and saw the strangest, silliest movies at theaters, just because I loved going to the movies. Just all kinds of nonsense I would see. And which makes sense. You kind of hone your taste as you go along, and I did, for better or worse. But yeah, I was a child of a period where we had video stores and everything, but there was this huge world of cinema I never saw, that a lot of us never saw, because we just couldn't get access to it. Unless it had been some kind of lauded, beloved foreign film. You just didn't see it. You didn't see the Italian gore stuff, or giallo, or horror, or mystery, or you didn't see the Asian cinema. You didn't see Spanish cinema. You didn't see a lot of this stuff from around the world. You certainly, goodness gracious, you certainly didn't see Indian cinema. Because it just wasn't easily found. In 90s, the door started inching its way open as the video store culture really took over, and they really, when you think about it, they needed more and more. Which is funny, kind of like modern streaming. They needed more and more content because people were going and consuming so many movies that, and so many movies at home, they needed more and more content. So, direct to video got big. They started pulling any number of just like shot on video movies, good, bad, and ugly, into video stores, and you finally started to get it more and more foreign films. The problem was that we were getting, in many cases, dubbed, censored or cut versions of films. I mean, gosh, you could only find Seven Doors of Death for the longest time. At the video store, and it's an R-rated version of Lucio Fulci's The Beyond, which it's one of those things, like, if you're going to see the movie, just you want to see the movie. I'm not looking for the censored version, which is funny because it plays into something I was thinking about earlier, just when I worked at a video, at like a collectible store, and they had videos and stuff, and someone had sold them, and this is just parenthetical, they had sold them a collection of these censored porn movies, so that they were essentially like R-rated. So it was the porno, it's just when it came to get down to business, like, that was cut. So it was just more Skinamaxy, which is just a fascinating thing to think about in itself. But that's a sidebar. But yeah, so we weren't really seeing kind of the full reality of these films. With Laserdisc, you started seeing better versions, and truer to how they were shot. I remember when I was so in love with the idea of Laserdisc as a format, because I was like, because I loved John Carpenter. I was like, I want to see, like, that movie's supposed to be kind of like widescreen, but supposed to look like that. I want to see that. And Christine was a big one. In my mind for that, I was like, oh my God, I want to see it like that. I want to see how it's supposed to be. And Laserdisc kind of offered that. It was more of a cinephile choice moving forward, and kind of for the high-end folks. And then, in the 90s, it was interesting because with the advent of, the coming of DVD and stuff, I remember boutique labels, which is, the boutique labels started to come around with Criterion and stuff like that, where they would take these films that were beloved or cult or classic in some way, and they would clean them up. They would go back and get like a version of the film that was closer to the original intent. They would pair it with maybe a commentary to describe what the movie was about, and they would, talk about kind of behind the scenes things. Once in a while, you'd get like deleted scenes or making of, all of these supplemental things that it was just like, holy cow! Like, you got to look behind the curtain, kind of, and see the process of making the film, and see, for deleted scenes and stuff. What it took to, what they pared back to make the film what it is. And you started to see that, and it was interesting because, labels like Anchor Bay out of Michigan popped up with cult and horror film on VHS, and they started putting them out in widescreen VHS, which is just, holy cow. So it was, a remastered version of the movie, and it was kind of like, hey man, we get it. You may not be able to afford a Laserdisc. Here, just have a VHS. That's kind of the same thing, but not. And I remember just like when those started really coming around, I was like, holy cow! And I still have some of those, and I haven't replaced all of them, or upgraded, I guess. But it's been interesting over the years as a movie geek. And to see how, movie geekdom has really become part of the groundwork of cinema and appreciation of film, where it's not just, hey, we're putting a movie in the theater. Eventually, it'll make its way to a cut version on television, and maybe you can record it on a VHS and watch it once in a while with commercials. Or if you're lucky, or of means, you could catch it on cable broadcast. With VHS, and then obviously with Blu-ray and everything, and now 4K, you're seeing all of this. The world has opened, and all of these movies are coming out. Stuff that, and I've talked about all of these things in other podcasts and in my blog, like the idea of how much content we've lost and we lose with every new generation, where it's just people, rights are kind of confusing, or people don't bother to put them out on newer formats, etc. But you're seeing, we've seen so many versions of the Evil Dead films and stuff like that, where it's every new iteration. Here's a new version. Here's a new version. Here's, a new insight into it, or just something new giga. But it's interesting that we've reached the point of fandom and collectordom, the fetishization of it all, where you're getting these boutique brands who are putting out just amazing content, and stuff that is so niche, and people are just like, oh my God, I wish you would put out, random movie that most of the people have never even heard of, that is super niche, and there's fans that are like, they don't just want it to come out. They want to come out in this pristine version in an uncut state that has never been seen except for like one screening, and with all kinds of supplemental things and all. It's not just. It's funny because as fans we've become so greedy that it's not good enough to have them. It's like we want it all. We want everything. And I appreciate that because I am one of those folks. But in collecting, we're creating a market where it truly is segregating the fandoms because you're seeing these boutique labels. They're and again I collect this stuff and I love it when I have the available funds. Where they'll be like, hey, it's not enough. Like, yeah, we can do the movie. We're gonna do the movie. It's gorgeous. Here's all this extra stuff. It's great. Here's everything. Here's everything you want. But we're gonna put it in a special box. And we're gonna have a special slipcover for that box, and maybe we'll have a sticker involved. They throw in all of these things now that are extras, and it's like porn candy. Like it is this like. You can't resist it for the fandom. It's like, I don't just want the movie. I need all of this extra stuff. I need a collector case, and I need postcards, and I need a poster, and I need all this stuff. And the prices of this stuff just goes up and up and up. And the problem is that it's not just that they're like, hey, man, here's another option. We're going to do it. We're going to do it cool. If you want to get that one, cool. If not, man, we got the movie. Because they're not always doing just the movie. Or if they do, it's months later where they're just like, okay, here, we bled this as dry as can be. Here's the plain old movie. And it's funny because it's almost kind of just like, for all you pores out there, here's the movie. When it's, really, what the most of us want is the movie. We just want the freaking movie so we can watch it, so we can enjoy it, so we can kind of relive the pleasure that we get from it. And, again, I love all the extras. I love all that stuff. It's great. Slipcases are amazing. But it's funny because there's a secondary market for slipcases. People sell just a slipcase for movies. And it's, they'll put them out in their limited slipcase. And it's just a freaking case. It's just the cover for the box that the movie is in. It doesn't have anything else to do with anything. It's just a slipcase. But people will get deep into their feelings about it, like, well, you gotta just sell a slipcase for that, blah blah blah. And the company's like, yeah, man, like it's not that economical for us. Like that's a whole big cost that we have to do. And then and it is a gamble. It's like, if we do 100 and there's 180 people that want it. Well, crap, we just lost out on some sales. If we do 500 and only 214 people wanted it, well, we just wasted a bunch of money and lost, a chunk of our profit from it, and are just going to have these sitting around, and we'll have to sell them for dirt cheap or give them away eventually. So there is some, it's some prognostication that has to go along. But it's so interesting because then, and then you see the markets are segmented because of rights issues. And like the foreign markets and the European markets will get special editions and these crazy box sets. And they come with all these weird gewgaws and stuff that won't come to the States. And then vice versa. I recently just bought an Exorcist 50th anniversary Blu-ray box set from the UK. The one that was the really cool, it came in, it looked like a Bible, sold out like that, and it's going for $300. The one I got, I picked up, and it's not, you could buy it now, and I opened it, so whatever. So it's not like I could sell it for that, but like you could buy that now for well over $100, and that's not what I paid. And then there's the American version, which is essentially just the movie and all the stuff. And a lot of it is just extras. It's like little giga stuff and like kind of extra junk. And it's cool, and I love it, and it's great. And it's, my wife's one of her favorite movies, and I'm happy as clam to have it on my shelf. It's great. But again, it's not like there was oh, we have a version of the movie no one else will ever see. It's just our company has this. It's not, it's the same movie. It's the same cuts, 2 cuts of the movie. You could see, well, wait. Yeah, there's the theatrical, and then there's the version you've never seen. Which is, once people have seen it, people have seen it. It's just the alternate version. And that's just, it's the fandom is, we're so greedy and so crazy, and we're breaking our own banks. And it's great because more boutique labels are popping up and more some things. And it's funny because I was reading today the back and forth between, on online, a company like, hey, we have another boutique sub label on our boutique label, and this is what this is what the intention of this is. And people were like, why don't you just stick to what you do? Can't you just stop with these sub labels? And then people were upset because the site will close down for a little while, so they can kind of target certain sub labels and other things, whatever. It's sales stuff, but it's fascinating because we're so petty and silly now that we're like, man, why are you branching off into other things? Just put out what I want. Or a company is they put out what they put out. And then they once in a while, they'll kind of veer off a little bit, and it's like, I don't want that. I want that one thing. We're so focused. I only want what I want. Screw everybody else. And it's just, I came from an era where you had to get those kind of movies on bootleg at conventions. You went to a table, and it was a big table, and there's 1 or 2 dudes behind it. And they were sometimes in hard clamshells with print photocopied covers, or once in a while they were not. They were just VHS and written on there blah blah blah, whatever the movie was. And you paid $20 or 3 for 50 or whatever, and you bought these and you went home, and they were varying qualities, but you were just seeing these things oh my God, I never thought I'd see this uncut. I can't believe it. And we've gone from that to the availability. I can go, I could go to, well, not as much now. Everything's changing again because they're trying to, as one section is man, we don't want to carry physical media anymore. We want it all digital. The other side is y'all crazy? Because we don't own it. We want to own this stuff, which I'm in that side. I don't want a hard drive to crash and so I lose all of my media. I don't want a company to go under and sell the rights and then have another company decide, well, we're not in that business anymore. None of that's available. I want to own it. So I am on the side of physical media. But where you could, once upon a time, you could go and get this boutique label version of a movie at a big box store. And it's interesting. It's interesting. We forget sometimes how lucky we are. To live kind of in the moment where all of this stuff is available. And yeah, we have to wait. Not everything is out in the version we like, and this and that, and not everything is exactly what we always want. Blah, 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 cry, baby, cry. But man, we are so lucky. There's a ton of stuff that I wish there was whatever. But the stuff, I go and look at my movies, I'm like, man, this is insane. The stuff that, you were shocked it even made it to V8 or to DVD, and now you can get it on a Blu-ray or a 4K or something. You're just like, holy crap! How is this a thing? How and of course there's and I can't say it's greed. It's business. Where people are like, hey man, we want to put this stuff out, and we want to do we want to do what the fans want, but we also want to make some money. So there's always that. That's the business. You can't get mad and say you guys are greedy. It's business. If they can't put out another version of The Evil Dead that's just a little different, that people are gonna people like me are gonna be like, oh man, I gotta have that. I mean, how can I live my life without that version to go with all my other versions? That's kind of that's the stuff that allows them to get the super niche stuff that isn't going to sell as well. But in saying that, it does drive me crazy that these companies are putting out such ornate and crazy box sets that it takes the focus off of these movies. It's all like, look at all this great stuff, and it's a this and it's a that. And it's great. It's like, no, we're here. It's amazing, great. I'm always for it. It's kind of like, oh, do you want dinner? Like, here's dinner, but then here's dinner displayed beautifully with some side dishes. Like, of course that's what you want, but like, it's not necessarily what you need, and for the cost, it's not maybe what you can afford. And I hate the idea that we'll lose sight of the fact that we came, all of us, the collective we came for the movies. We are here for the movies. And, I don't want to lose sight of that. And I hope we don't, as we start kind of getting more and more fetishistic and more niche. And as and the companies are kind of like focusing on like, oh, we have to get these even weirder stuff, and crazier packaging, that less and less people are going to buy, but those people will buy it for a higher cost. So maybe it legitimizes their investing in it. So that's my hope. And as fans, as a fan, I hope I can keep in mind how lucky we are to be able to complain about this stuff and go, man, why is that amazing movie that was a movie I saw when I was 8, and I'm obsessed over why is it coming out in a version with like amazing packaging and remastering and extras, and it's coming out with all this great stuff, and why isn't it coming out now and instead of 6 months? I hope I don't get to that point where I'm just like, like a little kid. As fans, we all get in our feelings a lot. That's kind of what we do, and I just hope that I have the semblance of mind not to get too ridiculous, because there's a day going to come when there will be a contraction. A lot of these places will close, and as we don't have a choice but to have everything either streaming or you own it, or you can rent it maybe, but that's that day will come sooner than we think, and it's going to be a real sad day because we will lose so much art. I mean, even the trashiest of trash, it is still made with craft, made with some manner of care, and it is a type of an art. Even nudie movies and TNA movies and gore epics, there's still some manner of craft behind it, and it, the stuff deserves to be seen because there's fans for everything, and it'll be a sad day when we lose the ability to watch all of that. And again, it will come. Like, that's just the way it is. So there's that. My other little short thing, speaking of the fetishization of film and stuff, I just had picked up recently you talk about it and it sounds so stupid, an Australian release of Grindhouse on Blu-ray, and it's a big set. And basically it takes an old DVD set that I had, which was just the movie and all of the extras, and then there was a Blu-ray that came out of the unrated or the uncut versions of the two movies, and it puts them both together, all that stuff together in one set. And it's like each movie, the whole thing as Grindhouse, the whole Grindhouse presentation, and then like each movie as a separate disc, Planet Terror, and then Death Proof as like the uncut, quote unquote, movie, and then like a disc of extras and blah blah blah. And I was happy to upgrade. It's one of those things where like oh man, I want 4K. Man, those are supposed to look kind of jacked up. So I think Blu-ray is probably I don't know why you'd want to keep chasing it, because they were intentionally like made them to look from the 70s. But in watching that again, I remember how much I loved that, and like that swing in it wasn't quite a miss, but like that didn't connect fully, and it just surprises me. It's funny to me how much hate it got, how much disdain it still kind of has amongst people, some, because of what it is. It's like, it is exactly what it is. Watching it, it is exactly what they meant it to be. It is a grindhouse movie. It's a double feature of grindhouse movies. That doesn't mean they are like have great artistic merit. It doesn't mean they have deep stories, deep characterization. It means they are down and dirty popcorn movies that you would go and see and spend your afternoon watching and just kind of like getting your rocks off and laughing at this just outrageousness. That's what they are. This was just filmmakers that had the ability and the means and just like effing off and just saying, we are going to make a love letter to the stuff that we watched as teens and young men. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I read the best movies of the year that list every year, and it's just I yawn because it's all like, here are the movies. These are all. I just laughing and talking to my wife, and I don't doubt that all of the films on these lists are very good, but they're all just so like depressing people who are depressed talking about being depressed. Except no one hears because they're depressed and they can't talk to one another because they're sad, and it's just so many of these movies that are so serious and so up their own rump, and we forget to have fun with movies. We forget that you can just go and watch a big, loud movie and lose yourself for a little bit, and that's what Grindhouse is. It definitely has some warts to it. I forgot some of the lines in it. I'm like, oh, wow, those are some rough lines, But that's, whatever. These are what they are. This is what they are. And again, if the style they're aping, they're getting it. I mean, frankly, they're probably less sex than are in those kind of movies in these. But the stories are slim pickings, but they are what they are, and it's great. And there's such a fun thing, and I'm bummed that that was the era of those, and then the 8 films to terrify you or whatever it was, like where I can't remember the company, but for a couple of years they released a bunch of movies in the theater, and I remember one of them you could go and like watch several in the day, and just I miss already miss those days, and we certainly aren't going to really get that post COVID, but I miss the fun and experimentation that would still kind of happen from time to time. Like we lost that in the video VHS, age. And because people don't, they want to go to a movie for a couple hours and go home. They don't want to spend like a whole day and stuff. You hear complaints now about why are movies so long, which I get, but I'm also like, if it's good, who cares? It's when they're bad that you get mad. It's like, I don't know. But it's a shame that we don't see that kind of fun and experimentation as much. The closest we get is with the Terrifier films, and with Terrifier 2, which was very just gutsy, and the Hatchet movies, when they did those, when Adam Green did them, it was very much like, heck it, I'm going to put these crazy, ridiculous movies out. We're going to go indie. Like, they're not going to be in theaters for about a minute, so catch them if you can. And I love, like, that about the Terrifier films, that it's very much like, here it is, like, get it while you can, and that people went to go see it, because we still need some of that. We still, we need the deep emotional films that remind us what it's like to be a human and what it's like to be empathetic and compassionate, and we need these movies that like break our hearts and uplift our spirits. We also need movies that just kind of give us a pinch and give us a tickle and just kind of like, yeah, and that just make us like, get us jazzed. And where the two kind of the fetishization of home releases and like a movie like Grindhouse kind of meet. Obviously it's with that release, but it's also just like the love of cinema and the love of movies. And there's a reason there's horror conventions, and it's this deep connection the fans feel to these actors, to these directors, to these makeup effects artists, to these musicians and score creators. It is this connection to them that you don't see. It's not like there's drama like conventions. There's not even really comedy movie conventions. And some of it is like the attitude by the creators and stuff that they're too good to kind of mingle with the great unwashed. But some of it too is the idea that people are kind of, they hit it and quit it, kind of like they made these movies they love, but like horror fans and genre fans, these mean something more than just movies. They are escapes. They are kind of what get us through life sometimes. You know, a lot of us that appreciate the genre are coming from hard lives or hard emotional states. And these movies and these people connect with us. And because that genre reaches back to us as we reach to it, that's why we go to it, back to it over and over again. And that's why, you know, people want these special editions. Like, you're not seeing 100 different versions of Forrest Gump. They kind of just like, here you go. Here it is. Here's everything we got. That's great. And they're kind of like, that's good. We good. You know, and I'm sure stuff like that, it's like not like there's 100 different versions and this and that, but like they also are just kind of like, yeah, we did that. We're good. We're moving on. Whereas the horror stuff, people want to talk about it and they want to hear other people talk about it. And they want to like see all of the stuff that made it what it is. And they want to see reunions and all this stuff. So it connects differently. And friend, I'm going to wrap it there. I hope you are doing well. I hope you're hanging in there. It's a rough season. You know, and this can be very hard for everybody. And I hope you have a support system and people and things that can kind of keep you sane in insane times. And I will talk to you soon. If you want to track me down, I am the one and only Spooky Chris, spookychris.com. I have lots of podcasts. I have a ton of books. Please go buy a book. Please go buy a book. And I will talk to you sooner than you think. Take care.